Hello, my name is Lorraine Santana, and for my research paper this semester, I am researching the Hungarian migrant caravan. And the purpose of this research paper is to explain how both social media, along with traditional media, affected the Honduran caravan that began in 2018. So, more specifically, I am researching in the terms of how the perspectives of the general public here in the United States changed towards immigration, as well as how it helped people learn about the caravan. And my research question is how does the transmission of information through the media as a result of globalization produce both a space of freedom and a space of suppression for migrants? So my arguments are that I argue that the media, both social and traditional media, has a heavy influence on the general public's perspective of immigrants. I specifically argue how both social media along with traditional media made it seem like the migrants in the Honduran caravan were going to invade the United States border. And then lastly, I also argue that there's not enough humanitarian aid or resources for migrants in Central and North America. So my findings throughout researching this topic is that the Honduran caravan began on October 12, 2018 in San Pedro Sula, Honduras. And due to the spread of the news on social media about this caravan, it caused more people to join as it passed El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico. And before the caravan took off, people from Nicaragua went to Honduras to join the caravan. So people in Nicaragua already knew about this caravan because of social media. And I also looked at some of the reasons why people were migrating out of Central America, and it's because of the violence from gangs, the lack of employment, poor education system, and a recent drought that occurred in Honduras at that time, so in 2018, and also the government in general. So I found that some fake news article they wrote that there was an article that presented fake news from the caravan. And this article was important for my research because in it, there was about 3 different types of fake articles that came along, but I'm just going to speak on one for lack of time. And it was that former President Trump claimed that there were unknown Middle Easterners mixed in this caravan who were trying to sneak into the United States. However, later on, journalists who were personally following along within the caravan confirmed that there were no Middle Easterners in the caravan. And these types of news articles made people view the caravan as a threat. There was also a hashtag trending on Twitter at the time, which was hashtag migrant caravans. And the effect of this hashtag caused a reaction to deploy troops to the United States border and deny Central Americans to seek asylum in the United States. So this shows how social media platforms were heavily influencing the people living in the United States to take action towards the caravan. Also, once the caravan reached Tijuana, Mexico, they did not simply walk into the United States. They had to apply for asylum and wait to be approved before entering the United States. And as they waited, they had the option of staying in shelters provided by the Mexican government. However, the migrants did not fully trust the Mexican government because these shelters were far from the United States-Mexico border. So they thought that if they went to these shelters, they wouldn't have a chance to go and cross the border because they felt like staying at the border, they could have an answer on their asylum status as soon as possible. So most of them decided to stay in the border. And so when they chose to stay near the border, that meant that they had to stay in the streets. So the living conditions were awful in both situations, both in the shelter and both in the streets. There were thousands of children. There were 7,000 people total in this caravan, and about 2,300 of these people were children. So they had humanitarian organizations, including UNICEF, to come, and they collected donations for the children who were in the caravan. So they collected food, they collected blankets, and if you could see pictures, it was just an awful situation. So, a tentative conclusion that I have come, obviously my research is not fully finished. I'm still writing it out. But globalization keeps spreading daily, and both social media, along with traditional media, has played a huge role in this. Information from different media outlets play a role in people's perspective towards immigrants. So when people read articles about immigrants that portray them as threatening, then people will view them as threatening, and vice versa. So if there's a good media a good news article about immigrants, then they won't view them as threatening. And there should be more humanitarian organizations to help along the U.S. Mexican border because so far in my research, the only one I found was UNICEF collecting things to help the children. So I do believe that there should be more humanitarian aid and organizations that come together to help those who are waiting for asylum within the border because their living conditions is not the best. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I am open to any feedback, anything you guys would like me to include that I might have missed in my research. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.